Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you, Abdurrahman. Uh, so when you have an efficient data structure, actually this makes an efficient application as well, and this makes a faster application, and uh, and that's why applications, as I said, like Google Maps, search for a certain destination in a very fast time. So the array is a data structure. The array is a data structure. So what's basically an array? An array is a collection of some data of the same type, and this is really very important. It is a collection of data of the same type. It is collection of a data of uh, the same type. Uh, so what does this mean? This means that an array, it is a collection of data, so it has slots one after the other. And if you have an array of integers, this means that all the elements inside the array are of type integer. If you have a list of an array of temperature, weather temperature, this means that this array is an array of floats. So what matters here is that it has elements of the same type. How do how do we declare an array? Simply, this array is simply an array for scores. And how many slots does it have? It has five slots. It has five slots. And what is the type of this array? The type of this array is actually the data type for this array is integer. And we said that the data type is uh, the data that you will be storing in the variable. So this array has five places, and the array starts from place 0, followed by place 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this is will be the result of the five places for the array. Let's have some practice. So I need to have a volunteer with me. Anyone volunteering? If you wish to volunteer, just write your name in the chat window. So I need some volunteers with me. So Kenzie,
Yes,
welcome to the
doctor.
course here, Kenzie.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay, so let's see this small piece of code here, Kenzie. Where is the declaration of the array? Let's have it line by line.
Right underneath the using name std
Yes, yes. We're having
an array of integers.
an array of integers. And simply, what do you think this piece of code is doing, yeah, Kenzie? Let's read it one by one. It's cn score of 0. This means what, yeah, Kenzie?
That the user will input the first element of the array.
Exactly, which is at slot 0. And then I am initially putting the maximum as score of 0. So let us together have this array. It has 5 slots. And typically, if we have this array containing 8, 9, 1, 2, 10. So this is basically the array of scores. So at the very basic part, we're assuming that the maximum is equal to the first slot, which is slot 0. And then this is what kind of loop this is, yeah, Kenzie?
It's a for loop.
It's a for loop. That loop from 1 to 4 because it is starting by 1 and it is ending when I is less than 5. And then it requests the user to enter the score. And it says if the score is greater than the max, if the score is greater than the max, then make the max is equal to the score. So what does this loop basically doing?
It's filling the array as well as um finding the biggest number.
Yes, finding the maximum number in the array. So the logic is I am assuming that the maximum is 8. And if 9 is greater than 8, so the maximum is 9. And then if 1 is greater than 9, which is not 2, the maximum will stay as 9. 2 not greater than 9, 10 greater than 9, so the maximum uh, will be will be 9. Will be 10, sorry. And thank you, Kenzie, for this. And this is another loop in which it says we know that the maximum is 10, so it picks how far the numbers are away from the maximum. So if the maximum is 10, so it basically deduct 10 minus 8, which is 2. So the first element is different from the maximum by 2, and the second one is different by 1, and the third one is different by 9, etc. So what matters for me here is what matters for me is two things. First, how to access the elements of the array, and the second one, how to declare an array. Okay, so this is basically what's important here. This is called a one-dimensional array. This is called a one-dimensional array. One-dimensional array means that the elements are are horizontally uh, aligned in the array. So the array is one dimension. The array is one dimension, which is the horizontal dimension. Okay, let's have another volunteer. So Yusuf Omar.
Hi, doctor.
Hi, Yusuf. So let's pick this small function, not really a big function. And Yusuf, actually, this is a function, definitely. And and this function actually is searching for an element in the array. And it's basically an array of integer because it's searching within the array of integer. So uh, basically, what is the input for this function, yeah, Yusuf? Yani what are the input parameters and the output parameter?
Okay, there's the input is the array that the user inputs. So if it's already set,
Yes.
okay.
And what is the purpose for const here?
Um,
You don't remember.
Not really.
Not really. So whoever raises his hand, I mean, don't raise your hand, just speak. It's okay.
Constant makes it so that we cannot change anything in the array that we input.
Perfect. Who are you? Oh, it's
Mohammed Al-Khuli.
Muhammad. So Muhammad is right. Actually, when you search for something inside the array, you usually put const here, and it simply prevents you to change the content of the array. It simply prevents you from changing the content of the array. So this is const here. Const means constant, means don't play with this array, which means what? Which means that if you have a0, for example, is equal 10, is equal to 3, the compiler will prevent you to do this statement. Why? Because you are changing into a constant thing, and this thing in this example is an array. Okay, let's return back to Yusuf. So it receives an array, it receives the size of the array, and it receives a target.
Yes.
And let's go beneath here. When you're searching for something, in general, first you assume that you don't find this something till you find it, then خلاص you found it. Okay, so it's like المتهم بريء حتى تثبت إدانته يعني. So it's not found. So basically you have a Boolean variable, and to remind you, a Boolean variable is a variable that takes either 1 or either 0. So what does this loop do, yeah, Yusuf? Just
Basically,
read it.
checks if the index, which is the number that was set to 0, is less than the number used.
The number used, which
Yeah.
is the size of the array.
Yes. And if it's
Yes,
still
the number
if it
used
still
is the size of the array. And
if it still is, it goes inside the function. I mean the if, and then it checks if the target is equal to the number in the array, which is
yes.
the one in the index. If it is,
So
then it changes the found.
before this, the for loop checks that that loop until either I found the element till I find the element, and as long as I didn't exceed the size of the array. يعني بالعربي اعمل لوب طالما انا ما لقيتش اللي انا بدور عليه لوب، وطالما انا ما عدتش الليميت بتاعت الاري. يعني لو الاري 5 لوب لغايه السايز بتاعت الاري، as long as كمان انت ما لقيتش اللي انت بتدور عليه. دي is the meaning of this part. Loop until you find what you are looking for and you don't exceed the size of the array. So continue, Yusuf.
Okay. It then compares the target which the user put in the function
Yes.
to the number that correlates to it in the array. If it's true, if they're equal, then the bool becomes true instead of false.
Yes.
If it's not, the index is incremented.
Okay.
وبعدين, if the target was found, then it returns to the main, the index, which is the number and the target. If not, it does.
ممتاز. So you're looping till you find the element, and if you don't find the element, then found will become false as it is. False as it is. If found, return index, which means that return where did you find the element. What does this mean? It means the following. This is the array. Thank you, Yusuf. If this is the array, and I am looking for 3, so it goes to the while loop. 1 is not 3, 2 is not 3, 3 is 3, so it returns the index. What is the index of 3? The index of 3 is 0, 1, and 2. This is return 3. If I am looking for 10 and there is no 10, it returns -1. It returns -1. So this is how this works. Okay. Okay. Any questions so far? Any question? Anyone doesn't understand anything? Should I continue?
Yes, Dr. Go.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you're happy? Yeah. Give me just 1 second. Okay, everything is good. So, if we want finally to do a small main for this part, so simply, this is the main, and simply int a of 5, and then you're calling the function, and that's it. Okay, so this is one-dimensional array. What is the two-dimensional array? What is the two-dimensional array? The two-dimensional array is simply adding another dimension, adding another dimensions. And I'll give you another example. So, assuming you have a class and we have a midterm, we have 30 students in the class, and every one of those students is having a grade for the midterm. So I will be having two-dimensional array that combines the student ID, for example, and the grade he or she is taking. So this is what I am saying. This is two-dimensional array. One-dimensional array is actually this part. This is one-dimensional array. However, if you want to have two-dimensional array, so you add another dimension. So this is dimension X and this is dimension Y. Dimension X in our case, which are the rows for the array, and dimension Y, this one, is the quizzes. So assume each student have a grade for quiz 1, the grade for quiz 2, the grade for quiz 3. This is for student number 1. For student number 2, we have his or her grades. For student number 3, we have his or her grades. For student number 4, we have his or her grades. So first, how do we declare a two-dimensional array? If we want to declare a one-dimensional array, so this is basically this part, int grade number students. But we don't want a one-dimensional array. We want a two-dimensional array. We want an array that combines a number of quizzes for a number of students, a number of quizzes for a number of students. So coming back, if we are at this cell, so this is student number 3, and this is his quiz 2. If we are here in this cell, then we are in student number 4, and his quiz is 3. How do we declare a two-dimensional array? So this is grade, number of students, and number of quizzes. So we have two things here. Just focus. We have one thing here, which is number of students. We have another thing here, another dimension here, which is number quizzes. Type. What are number underscore students and number are quiz underscore quizzes? They are constants. And usually constant numbers, they are declared before the main. So there should be something like here, number of students equal to, for example, and number of quizzes is equal to 3. In this example, this one, the number of students is actually 4, and the number of quizzes is 3. So this is a two-dimensional array. This is how do we declare it. This is how do we declare a one-dimensional array. This is how we declare a one-dimensional array. This array, this one, contains the average of the quizzes for a given student. This one, this array contains the average of quizzes, the average of certain quiz. So for example, for quiz 1, it sums the number of students and divided them. It sums the grades for the quiz, quiz 1, and divides by the number of students. If we want the average for quiz 2, so quiz 2 divided by the number of students, the summation of the grades for quiz 2 divided by the number of students, the summation for the grades for quiz 2, 3 divided by the number of students. This is how you get a quiz average. How to get a student average? So you basically sum his grades and divided by the number of quizzes, which is 3. So let's see how we can deal with two-dimensional array within a function. So this function, we will take it as an example. It will receive the grade, which is a two-dimensional array, and it will receive the student average, which is a one-dimensional array. Remember, you are in the main. So when you call a function and the input is a grade, this means that you don't do it like this. This is the name of the function, and you don't do it like this. You simply say grade, and the compiler will understand what's grade. You simply says AVE, not AVE like this. Okay, let's have one function here. Let's have one volunteer with me. So, so Muhammad Al Mahdi, can you volunteer?
Yes, doctor.
No, I'll pick Ala,
Okay.
since she is our newest member in the class here.
Okay, no
Okay, Ala,
problem.
you're with me?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay. So, let's, Ala, please have a look at this part. So, this function, what does it receive? It's a void function, of course, which means that it doesn't return anything. So what does it receive?
First, it has a constant integer that's named grade, and it's an array. It's
It's a one-dimensional array or a two-dimensional array?
It's a two-dimensional array.
Okay. And the second one is one-dimensional or two-dimensional?
The second one is one-dimensional.
Okay. Okay, that's great. So this is the function. And then we have two loops inside each other. This is the first loop. I will put it in different color. This is the first loop, and this is the second loop. So we have two loops inside each other. So what the first loop do and what the second loop do, Ala? Just start picking up what this code is doing, yeah.
Okay, so the first loop, so both loops, they're inside of each other because they're filling out the two-dimensional array.
Yes.
The first one, it keeps the first part of the array constant, and it keeps filling the second part, and then it keeps moving on. And it adds one and starts filling the second number, and then the third one.
Yes. So basically, the first one loops into the number of students, okay? And the second one loops into the number of quizzes, So remember, I want to calculate the student average. What does this mean? This means that I will return back and remind you what I am trying to do here. Assuming that this is student 1, so I want to sum this grade, and this grade, and divided by the number of quizzes. So if it is 80, 90, 100, so the average is 90. So 80 plus 90 plus 100, and then at the end of the day, I will divide by the number of quizzes, which is 3. So let's pick it for one student. So basically sum is equal to 0 initially. So sum is equal to 0 plus the grade for the first student, which is basically grade 0 and 0. The second sum will be equal to the previous sum, which is, let's say, 80 plus grade for students 0, which is the first student and the second grade. So assuming it's 90, so 170 plus the third grade, which is 100. So the sum for the first student is 270 divided by, and then I exit this loop, this green one, and go to the outer loop for the student. And what does this do? It does simply, we have one-dimensional array called student average. So student average of 0, which is the first student, is equal to 90. And on the second loop, it will calculate the second student average, which is say 80. The third student average is 90. So I'll leave you 30 seconds to look at this piece of code. Once again, what do? I simply, for each student here, I sum his grades and I divide it by the number of quizzes. So there are two loops, one for the number of students, starting from student 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the number of quizzes. This is the internal loop. So for the first students, I go for quiz 1, 2, and 3. And then I calculate the average for the first students. The second student, I go for his grades and divided by the number of quizzes for the outer loop, and here we go. So I leave you 30 seconds to look at this function, and if you want me to repeat, I am welcoming. Take a look, don't sleep.
Doctor, I have one question.
Okay.
So when we're sending the 2D array as parameters in the function,
When we
in the red line here above to the left, we are sending the 2D array as parameter.
This one or
Yes,
the
yeah.
previous one?
No, the one you just.
Yes.
Why did we first use empty brackets and then brackets of the number of quizzes inside those brackets? Aren't both of them supposed to be empty?
Both of them can be empty, and there's another variation if you want to put a constant here, yani. So both of them can be empty. This is the norm, yeah, Ayman. And if you want to determine a constant here, you can write a constant, yani. You don't have to, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. Any questions before I leave? Okay. So, for the third or fourth time, I know you love pointers, but in this course, I trust you will like them. I know that you were hating them before, but inshallah, you will like them in this course. You have to cope with them, yeah. Within 2 weeks, we'll be having a data structure about linked list, and it's full of pointers, yeah, and then trees are full of pointers, so our life will be full of pointers, and they're perfectly easy. You don't have to worry about them, yeah, inshallah. So we'll have a view of pointers. Type. Before I start explaining pointers, in the previous lecture we spoke about the stack and the heap. Anyone can tell me the difference between the stack and the heap?
The stack is a static memory where static variables and static arrays are stored, while the heap is dynamic memory where we depend on dynamic allocation. For pointers, for example, when we create a dynamic array or a dynamic variable, then we delete it after we finish using it.
Yes, that's fine, Muhammad. Thank you very much. So, in very simple words, I know that Muhammad might be speaking a little bit of Chinese, but in simple words, the stack is a small memory. The heap is a large memory. And really, and really, when you have, when you declare a variable like this, it goes automatically into the stack. And you don't have to allocate it in the stack. What does this mean? لو انت عندك variable int x هو automatically هيحصل له allocation جوه الستاك. stack دي ميموري صغيره 64K، ممكن لو عندك application كبير الستاك يضرب. الهيب is a large memory 2 جيجا او اكتر even من 2 جيجا memory depends على ال resources بتاعت اللابتوب. This is one fundamental difference. The other fundamental difference that you have to allocate and deallocate memory. What does it mean, allocate memory? Means I have to reserve this piece of memory for this variable. I don't have to do this in the stack. I don't have to do this in the stack. Stack, the memory are previously allocated. Is previously allocated. Heap, you have to allocate and deallocate memory. يعني كده بالبلدي لازم تحجز شقة، وبعد كده لو سبت الشقة دي تفضي الشقة. لكن the stack, the memory is already allocated. Okay? Why the hell we are using stack? We are using a heap? Because if we have large applications, we have to use heap. Can anyone tell me what's a pointer? So I'll pick someone of my friend, even or if he or she doesn't remember this. So Sander, do you still remember what's a pointer?
Pointer, it points to a variable in an array.
It points to
a variable in an array that's stored.
Actually, that's right. Thank you, Sander. However, in a very right way, it points to a location in memory. Okay.
Yes,
and this location might be anything. خلاص. It may point to an array, it may point to a stack, it may point to anything and everything. It may point to a tree, like so it's simply thank you, Gamal. Yes, it points, it's an address and points to something. So a pointer is like the address of your home. 1 second, please. So a pointer is like your address, your home address. So I am located, this is where I live. I am located at Ardel Golf. This is not my exact address, yani. So if you know my exact address, you know my flat. So because we are reserving something in the heap, so we have to point to it. And this pointer is what we are speaking about. So it is an address that points to something. And I repeat, Yasanda and everyone, it's pointing to something, a variable, an array, a stack, a queue, whatever it is. So thank you, Sanda, for this. Anyone that answers, just give himself or herself a bonus, whatever the answer is. So let me have another volunteer, Reem, and then Maram. Okay, Reem.
Hi, doctor.
Hi, Reem. So if you look at this, Reem, int my array of 5. This will be stored in a stack or a heap?
Stack.
Stack. Type. What's the rule, Yarim? The rule, Yarim, as long as you don't see this lovely new here, so it's stack. If you see this lovely new here, so it's a heap.
Okay.
If you see this lovely new here, this means that this one is a pointer. And you see this beautiful star here. So it's basically int star b array equal new. New, remember, the word new means احجز لي الشقة. خلاص? So new int of 5. What does this mean? This means, let's take it, Yarim, step by step. Int, we said that this star means what, Yarim?
A pointer.
A pointer. And what is the name of the pointer?
P array.
Good. And new means reserve how many integers, Yarim?
5.
High. So reserve 5 places in memory and point to them by what, Yarim?
By the pointer P array.
Exactly. And this is basically this part. And as far as we saw our friend heap, our friend new, this means that please allocate them on the stack or heap?
Heap.
Heap, exactly. So if you see our friend new, then it's heap. No new, then it's stack. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Doctor. So if I
Yes.
want to use if I want to use the stack, I write the same line but without new.
No, Habibi, no. If you use the stack, don't use new. Declare the variable as you normally do. Int x, this goes to the stack. Int my array of 5, this is a declaration of array of 5, this is in the stack. If you want to allocate on the heap, so int x equal new int. Okay, int my array equal new int of 5. Everyone looks at this, Yahya and everyone. If you don't understand this, just let me know. This is the core of everything. Other than this, everything for the pointers are somehow very similar to يعني the normal thing. Yeah. So look at those things and let me know.
Doctor, can you explain it?
Okay. So int x and int my array. Do you have problems in this? Who was speaking?
No.
Okay, Abdurrahman. No. So those, what does this mean? This means that x is a variable which is of type int. My array is an array of 5 integers, and they go where they are pre-allocated in the stack. You don't have to allocate them. So far, so good, Abdurrahman?
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Then, if you want to allocate in the heap and use pointers. So simply this X, you add a star, then it becomes a pointer. Then equal new int. What does this mean? Allocate a piece in memory for an integer and point to it by X. يعني بالعربي احجز لي حتة في الميموري فيها عبارة عن 4 بايت وخلي X تشاور عليها.
تمام.
For this part, reserve 5 places in memory and let my array points to them. Okay, Abdurrahman?
Okay, doctor. Thank you.
Okay. Type. Someone wants me to repeat once more this part. I know that you suffer in pointers, بس معلش. So int X and int my array. This is a normal declaration. This is a normal. So Yasin, since you sent to everyone, Yasin.
Yes.
You're with me, Yasin?
Yes, hello.
Yes. So basically you understand this, right?
Yes.
This is X of type integer, and this is my array. This is an array of 5 elements, and those 5 elements are integers. So far, so good?
Yes, good.
Okay. Type. Those are allocated in the stack, which is the small memory. Okay. What if I want to allocate in the heap, which is the big memory? So I say int star X means star means pointer. X, this is the name of the pointer. And then equal new means allocate in memory an integer. Okay. Then here int, this is a pointer. Which is my array equal new allocate int of 5 يعني 5 places in memory as integer. Okay, Yasin and everyone. نعم. نعم مش سامع. Okay, Yasin. Okay. طيب. Let's go further. Let's go further. So I need another friend with me.
I can, doctor.
So Maram.
Yes.
Yes, Maram. So Maram, let's look at this piece of code. P equal new int. What does this mean, Yamaram, as we explained?
We allocated the variable P.
Yes. We allocated what?
The variable P. Isn't it supposed to have a star?
Yes. Let's put it in the okay. So what does this mean?
So we're storing the variable P in a heap. So that's a pointer.
Yes. So we're having a pointer, and what is the name of the pointer?
P.
And we are storing, we are reserving a place for what? This is what?
Integer.
Yes. So we are having a pointer P, and this pointer points to what type of variable?
Integer.
Exactly. Okay, so this is what's meant by this. And this star B equal 54. This means the content of P, يعني what is inside P. So I am having a memory location, and I will put inside this memory location 54. I will put inside this memory location 54. تمام? So let's have it visually كده. Okay? So this statement P equal new int. So P is a pointer. If you see this part, P is a pointer, and the number and the address of it, let's say 1800, whatever, any number, we don't care. It points to an integer. This is this part. And then content of P equal 54. So instead of this 73, it will become, it is 54 here. So we're having a pointer. The name of the pointer is P, and it's pointing to 54. It's pointing to a location and contain a value 54. يعني يا جماعة بالعربي P ده pointer بيشاور على memory address فيها integer. تمام؟ الميموري address اللي فيه integer خلينا جواه number 54. تمام؟ If we make after this content of P equal 73, what does this mean, يا مرام?
We changed the content of the place of the pointer to from 54 to 73.
Exactly, to 73. Exactly. So it was 54. Now it is 53. What if we, thank you, Maram. What if we make delete P? This means that I am deallocating, freeing the memory place that was allocated by P. Okay? So I am freeing the memory place that was allocated by P. Okay? So this is new and this is delete. So let's have this piece of code. Okay, so I'll have a volunteer with me. So Ayman Ashraf.
Yes, doctor.
Okay. So let's go to this part, yeah, Ayman.
Mm-hmm. Where in the first function?
No, just
The
this
main.
part. The main.
Okay, so first,
So I just want to simplify this. So instead of this part, I don't want to explain type def now. So I just want to write it. Okay. So what's this, Ayman?
okay. Here you're initializing a pointer, pointing to an array. Sorry, give me a second.
And yes. Continue. An
It's
array.
it's reversing an array with the variable that is stored in array size.
Yes. So it basically asks the user how many places do you want to have in the array. It asks the user how many places you want in the array. It asks the user محتاج تحجز كام شقة. خلاص. The user say I want to allocate 5 places. So this is 1D array or 2D array, Ayman?
This is a 1D array.
This is a 1D array. So it looks like this in memory. This is 1D array. And this is a pointer. What is the name of the pointer, Ayman?
A.
ممتاز. So A. And it points to
It points to the
how many places? An array of how many places? We said we want to reserve 5.
Then it will point to 5 places. It depends on the user input.
Yeah. So let's assume it's 5.
Then 5
So
places.
this is the first place, this is the second place, this is the third place, this is the fourth place, this is the fifth place. Okay? And then it calls a function. What is the name of the function, Ayman?
Fill array.
Fill array. It gives it an input, which is the array, and it gives it the size of the array. So we're here. It's a very normal array. It's a very normal array definition. So this part, so this is the A, this is the array size, which is the size here. And then we display the elements that are in this array. So we
CN.
This is CN. So we input the elements here. So CN, A of index of 0. So we fill this by, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So this is fill array. Type. If we created a pointer to the array, which is basically this part, this is a pointer to an array. This is a pointer to an array. This is a pointer to an array. How many places? Let's assume it's 5 places. We called this function, give it an array, and give it the size, and we let the user enter the places for this array of 5 elements. Okay, and then what's finally delete. Let me point to it. Delete A. delete A. Okay, what does this mean? This means deallocate. This means free. This means فضيلي. All the places that were allocated for the pointer to array, which is named أيمن A.
A.
A. طيب. Let me repeat this again. Everything in this code. First, I allocated 5 places, whatsoever places, for a dynamic 1D array, allocated it and pointed it by a pointer that is named A. This is this part. Then I called a function, very normal function. I passed to it this array and the size of this array, and I let the user enter the places or the element for this array. What does this mean? This means that the user will enter 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and in memory, this will be pointed out by a pointer that is called A. يعني أنا عندي pointer اسمه A بيشاور على array فيها 5 places فيها elements دي. elements دي جت منين؟ جت from the user ودخلوا من خلال الفانكشن دي. How to deallocate, how to free this place in memory. After I finish everything, I makes delete. If I want to deallocate to free a variable, what do I do? Delete the variable name. If I want to free a pointer to the array, I make delete and then A. Look at this piece of code, please. Look, please, at this piece of code and let me know if you understand it or I should repeat. Should I continue?
Doctor, what is the use for delete? Like, why? I know how to use it, but why do we use it?
Why do we use it? This is to free memory.
بس هو
Because if I have a big application and it allocated all the memory inside the computer, so you will find that you cannot run Word, for example, you cannot run Excel. So it's a good practice that you allocate memory and you free memory before you leave the main function.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
Okay. Or
Doctor,
you leave, yeah.
is this the memory used by the RAM?
This is by the RAM, yes.
Okay.
Please look at this piece of code once again. We'll start the topic of the classes, but we'll not finish. يعني, well, of course, we'll not finish it. يعني. So bear with me another 10-15 minutes. يعني. معلش, I know that I am يعني, I am giving you too much, but it's okay. يعني. Okay. So this is important for your assignment as well, yeah. So for the classes and the object. So can anyone tell me what's a class?
Class is
No, not you, ya Muhammad. Let's have new name.
Okay. No
Some, yalla. Other one that tells me what's a class, what's an object.
I can go for it.
Yeah, new name, برضه.
Okay.
Yalla, what's a class, what's an object? Otherwise, I have to.
Sir, can I say?
Can I answer?
Yes, sure.
A class is a data type whose variable or objects.
Yes.
And it includes a description of the kinds of values the variable can hold and the description of the member functions.
Okay, that's in. يعني, okay. Can you explain it in a more basic way?
I'm sorry, doctor, I don't understand. How should I explain?
Do you hear my way? Do you hear my voice first?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah, okay. طيب, let's hear from Maya.
A class is more like you could say a folder maybe where you could assign certain perhaps subheads, and every subhead allocates a different, for example, student name, student ID, and then later in the main you could then assign the names, so student name dot whatever is the name of the student and so on and so forth.
Yeah, good, very good, Maya, very good. Muhammad Osama, do you have, and Muhammad Farghali, do you have?
I think of a class as like a template for the instance.
Yes. You're my friend. Yes. Okay. Continue.
So it's like a template, and basically its variables are like objects that follow that template structure.
Yes, that's fine. Muhammad?
Classes is like when you like create a group and it's like it's inside of an object, and like when you want to
No, not
divide like the
inside
work
of
or
them.
something, that
No, not
inside
inside
the
of them.
classes itself.
Not inside of them. But anyways, يعني all of you are fine. Yeah. So a class is 3 or 4 things. First, it's a blueprint. It's a template. And the object is an instance. It's a child. It's a representation that represent this class. This is one definition. The other definition is a class is a data type. This is what Sandra was saying. It's a data type. So, and this data type, it has an object, which is in principle, it's a variable. Okay, which is in principle, it's a variable. Okay, and this data type has 2 things. First, it has member variables and it has member functions. What does it mean by member? Means belong to this class. Type. Let's have a more, let's have an easy example here. If I tell you, you are a human being, does this means anything? It means that you will have a hand, you will have an eye, you will have a leg. And it means that you can run, you can speak, you can hear, you can listen, etc., etc. Okay. What if I say that Sander is a human being? So in this case, Sander is an object that belong to this template, that belong to this data type, that belong to this blueprint, that belong to this category that is called human being. Sander has two eyes. Her eyes are brown, let's say. Her skin is brown. She can walk. This means that she can walk. But Sander, this is of course a hypothetical example. Sander cannot run, but she's still a human being. So the object, in principle, can do some of the functionalities or all the functionalities of the class. And the object, which is Sander, has values for the variables. So if I have a class, by the way, this is very, very important discussion. So I am having a class called human being, and we agreed that Sander is a human being. So Sander is an object that is related to a class called human being. So what are the characteristics of the human being? Age, skin color, eye color. What can a human being do? Can listen, hear, run. Sander is a human being. Means Sander is an object that belongs to a class called human being. Yes? Sander's age equal 19. Sander's skin color equal brown. Sander's eye color equal brown. Sander can listen, hear, and run. So Sander is an object that belongs to a class called human being. So this is the difference between the object and the class. So I'll tell you something, and then you can tell me this is a class or this is an object. When I tell you a dog, this is a class or an object?
Class.
Class. Yes. No, class. Dog.
Yeah, class.
Class.
Doctor, couldn't it be both?
Yeah, can it be like animals and then the object is dog?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Well, it can be, but usually, يعني all of you are right. But usually, when you have the object, it has to have some personalization. Like I don't know what are the dogs, يعني types, yeah. But it has to be, yeah.
Chihuahua.
So yeah, exactly. So it has to be something. So if I have a class called animal, I can have an object that is called my dog. If you have a class that is called dog, then the object can be whatever Chihuahua, whatever type the dogs are. Okay, so I can tell you another example. If I can tell you BMW, this is an object or this is a class?
Object.
Object of cars.
Yes, object of cars. If I tell you If I tell you Pepsi, this is an object or is a class?
Object.
An object.
An object.
Yes, an object. If I tell you a calculator, this is a class or an object?
Class.
Class. If I tell you a button, this is a class or an object?
Can be both, doctor.
It can be both, yeah.
It can be both, yes. But يعني it's more into a class. If I tell you Samsung, it's a class or an object? It can be both, I know, but more into what?
An object.
Class.
No, an object.
Object, yeah.
Yes, because it's Samsung, it's LG, it's iPhone. تمام. If I tell you light, this is a class or an object?
Class.
Object. Class.
Class, light. But if I tell you regarding the light, if I tell you white light, this is an object.
Object.
Okay. For people that were interacting with me, that's fine. But before I transmit to the last piece of this lecture, does anyone understand the difference between the class and the object?
Yes.
Or I should repeat? No, don't speak if you have spoken. Just let me hear if anyone doesn't understand the difference between the class and object. تبقى مشكلة كبيرة لو ما فهمتوش ده. لأنه الكورس ده هو عبارة عن classes و objects، مش أكتر من كده يعني. طيب. على أي الأحوال the good news that we're repeating this. يعني next lecture and afterwards we're repeating this. Okay, so this is a class definition. This is a class definition in C++. This is the name of the class, and this is the start of the class, and this is the end of the class. This is called a class definition. This is called a class definition. This is called a class definition. Okay? In the class definition, you will list two things. You will list two things. First, the member variables, and second, the member functions. يعني الكلاس بيبقى فيه حاجتين. variables و functions. variables و functions. طيب. I have two things. Public and private. Public means I can access them from objects belongs to those classes. Private means that they're just private. No one can access them except from within the functions of the class. The last part sounds Chinese.
Doctor,
The
can
last
you
part,
explain it in
yes,
details
I
more?
know that the last part sounds Chinese for you. I'll explain it. Okay. So I have to have one friend with me. So I'll have Hannah.
Oh, yes, doctor.
Yes, Hannah or Hannah.
Hannah.
Okay. Okay. So I'll remain seeing Hannah till end of the semester. Okay. Okay. So Hannah, this is a class definition. Okay. And those are the functions that exist on the class. And this is public. Those are the variables that exist in the class. And this is private. and this is private. Okay, so let's begin with you, Hannah. Do you know what is this?
Declaring two variables with the class day of the year.
What is the name of the class?
Day of year.
Day
And the
of year.
two variables are called today and I
Yes.
don't know, something birthday.
Okay, Bach. Okay, so let me write this. This is the name of the class, day of year, and today is an object. So today is an object that belongs to day of year. Today is an object that belongs to day of year. Okay, another object which is Bach busy. This is another object. Okay, طيب, how to access the functions of the class? How to access the functions of the class? So to access the function of the class, what does it mean to access the functions of the class? It means to use the functions of the class. It means to call the functions of the class. It means to access the function of the class. It means to call the functions of the class. To call the functions of the class. So this object is named today. Dot means I want to access the functions or the variables of the class. Today dot get months type get months. This is get months, ya Hannah. This is a public function or a private function. Look at the class definition.
Public. It's public.
Public means from the main I can access it. It's public. مشاعة. I can access it. طيب. If I say today dot check date. This is public or private, ya Hannah? Look at the function called
private.
This is private. So check date exists in the private part of the class. طيب, can I access it, ya Hannah, or not?
No, you can't.
No, I can't because this is private. So this is wrong. I cannot do today dot month because it's private. I cannot say today dot day because it's private. Okay. I can say today dot set. I can say today dot get months. I can say today dot get day. So what matters for me is the name of the object dot the name of the function, and this object called today belong to a class called day of year. And then let's have it together. Trace this piece of code. See out, enter today's day, today.input. It will call a function that is called input type. How this function is written? Day of year, column, input. Day of year, column, input. What does this mean? This is the name of the function. Column. This means that it belongs to a class called day of year. Again, void day of year, the name of the class, column, input. This means that a function, this function called input belongs to a class called day of year, and it has certain things. Okay, so this is how to call a function. Once again, Public means that any object from the main can access those functions of the class. Private means that they are private, so any object like today and like Bach birthday cannot access check date function, cannot access month, cannot access day. So that's why, and this is the subject of our next talk, that's why we make getters and setters to access the private members of the class like the month and the date, and to print the private members of the class, which is the month and the date. Okay, so I didn't continue talking about classes. I will repeat most of this talk next time. However, I just want you to pick up and start doing the assignment. And I think that I might do something extra for you and for the other section on Tuesday, inshallah. So till then, have a good evening. And if anyone wants anything, just let me know. Sorry always for being late, but يعني let's have have a little bit of some extra minutes at the beginning so that we recap what we have missed in 106. So thank you very much. And if anyone wants anything, just let me know and just stay on the lecture session. So thank you very much for now.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Yes, thank you, doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Have a good day, doctor. Have a good day.
Thank you, doctor. Goodbye.
Thank you, doctor. Bye.
Bye.